That voice
Got it.
still creeps me out.
I know. It creeps Ben out every time.
Yeah, it's the ominous voice of the computer. But anyway, hey guys, I'm Alex and I have a special guest today. He's been on before. I'll let him go ahead and introduce himself.
Hi everybody, I am Andrew from Superhero Stuff You Should Know and now Gaming Gaiden and some other things, I
Got the
guess.
got the second one going, huh?
The second one's it's all I'm running every fire at the moment. Amano Recon, I think we're gonna talk about mainly, I guess. That's also going right now. So and my day job. So
Yeah,
anyway,
it's
thanks for
tough.
having me on. This is cool.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about though. Before we get into the interview, I guess you're talking about making stuff. I'm doing like a horror like series. It's like 3 episodes. So I get it. Like I,
Nice.
I work like 2 jobs, so it's hard to coordinate. So I'm like, they'll be 11 minutes long. That's the
Oh
only thing I
yeah.
could commit to because any longer than that, it's gonna take years for me to make. So
He's shooting on your what are you shooting on?
I'm gonna get some like I have a digital camera in here actually. Try not to choke myself with the cord, but I just got one of
Okay.
these. Yeah, it's like a little
Cool,
HD
cool.
camera.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna get drones and stuff. It'll be cool. But
Oh, that'll be cool.
yeah, do some aerial shots, make it look like it wasn't shot for like $2. So but yeah,
Yeah.
I guess well, I told you before the show that we kind of this has been a while since I've actually done an interview. But I kind of like was inspired by kind of like how he Kevin Smith. I know you're obviously a fan of Kevin Smith.
Yeah,
Uh
definitely.
yeah, how he does it on Fat Man on Batman. I won't go to like as far back as like your birth or anything like he like he does on that show, but
Oh,
we'll go as far as like I guess where did you get I guess I'll just start off. Where did you get started career wise?
um, okay. How far back do I go? Yeah, career. All right. So I've been in LA for 12 years now. I moved in 2010 and uh from Atlanta originally, and before that Alabama.
Okay.
And yeah, and then I mean, God, for like 7 or 8 years, I don't think I had a career. I just had jobs. So it was just, I worked at a computer store that was essentially, it was Melrose Mac. It's like a unofficial Apple store. I was a bench technician for not even, for about a year. And then uh, I got a job called Blu-ray QC, quality control. I bring that up on the podcast sometimes, but I got that. It was basically whenever they make Blu-rays, it's like it's not Peanut. This is Tora talking now.
Oh, new person.
New cat.
Yeah.
I guess he's hungry. So anyway, Blu-ray quality control basically means there's programmers programming the menus, and it's just coding. It's some sort of coding that they do. I don't even know what language it was, but they would code it, and then they would need, like, like games have bug testing. So that's what we were. We're kind of like bug testing. Like there's a problem with Spanish subtitles on the special features here, or man, we shipped Rango. Remember that movie?
Oh, I love that movie. Yeah.
That was a great movie. We had to watch it like 40 times because we were QCing it, but it was kind of good memories because it was a good movie. And like I think we shipped that one where we had mixed Slovakian and Slovenian, like the audio languages or the
Yeah.
subs maybe. And there was a recall in that region, but no one got mad at us because no one fucking spoke those languages in our department. Anyway, sidetrack, but that that was a job I did for a few years. Then if you move to LA, it'll kick your ass. Like I think everybody has this kind of experience. Uh and then I quit that job to go work at a company that was like trying to be the next Pixar, which was so stupid because it was literally, so the guy that owned it, it was like a vanity company because it was one of the
Hmm.
guys that invented Bluetooth. So this guy had money to burn, and he was like, and like it was just this whole, it was like a company of like literally like 30 people maybe, and they were trying to do everything: video game design, a magazine, some fashion shit. They had an iPhone app, trying to do short films as well. A guy that directed like one of the Steven Seagal movies worked there too, and he was trying to direct via them, and it was just a mess. And then I left that job because it was a mess. And then this was 2014, and then uh God, it was one of the worst years of my life. I almost moved back home. My car was breaking down in the heat wave that summer. It was a shitty ass Hyundai. I would literally have to get under it to beat the carburetor or some shit. I forget what it is, but like if you beat it with a wrench, the car would then start.
Yeah.
I had to get under my car almost every time, and then it finally died in traffic, and it wasn't on the freeway, which is good,
Thank God,
but
right?
yeah, but it was awful. And I started PAing. I turned 30 in 2014, and I was PAing, which is like the lowest thing, and I was 30, and there was one PA was like, I don't want to be, he didn't mean this, he didn't know my age, but he was like, I don't want to PA when I'm 30. And I was like, fuck,
Ouch.
man, I'm 30. But yeah, this was on the show Face Off, which is,
Oh.
yeah, which is the makeup show, not the John
Uh-huh.
Travolta 90s thing. So it was like makeup competition reality on sci-fi. So they filmed like seasons back to back. So I think I worked on 3 seasons in one year
Nice.
uh that year, which was cool. Not much money, but cool enough. And they did one other show called Game Night, which is
I
on
haven't
NBC or
heard
something.
I heard of Face Off because I used to watch that show a lot. I know that like I'm really into movies and movie making and
Yeah.
stuff. And actually I
Yeah.
think my parents showed me that where they were just like, "Oh, well you'll like this because you're really into movies and stuff." I think it was it on the Sci-Fi network or
It was
something.
on sci-fi. Yeah, it was on sci-fi. So it was cool enough, but that didn't last. And like then then I got a job at a TV channel, which was kind of a saving grace, where essentially I would be archiving video files. So I actually still do that job remotely. So I kind of do two jobs at once now on top of everything else. And then, like 2 years of that, then I get a call from my now boss. Uh, hey, I got something coming up. You want to be our photo guy? And I was like, yeah. He was like, it's only going to last till May. So February to May. I took a real gamble here because I left the job with benefits, but I was like, let's do it. And I've been there ever since. That was 2017.
Nice.
So it's a company called Fractured Effects.
Hmm.
If you go to fracturedeffects.com, it's FX. Um, and my boss just won the Academy Award for special effects makeup for The Eyes of Tammy Faye.
Nice.
So the Oscars where Will Smith got the slap. I guess that
Yeah.
was this year's. That was this
Yeah.
year's still. So he was he was there. He was in the crowd watching that. So I didn't win an Academy Award. I've never been. I'd love to go. It's a bucket list item of mine. It's one of the, thankfully, it's one of the few bucket list items I don't have checked off yet. I've checked off a bunch, but like, uh, it's anyway. Yeah, he was there. He won it for that, and it was good to be part of a team that won, which was cool. His name's on the award and everything, but I worked on that movie too. So in my own way. Uh, and I've been there since 2017. That's been mainly it. Been doing the podcast for a long time, but it's been through at least two iterations. Ben came on, and kind of gave us more focus. Because if you check us out when we were Superhouse, we were kind of just doing movie reviews and stuff. And then we changed that over to being more about info and getting more on YouTube too, because we were just a podcast and it was hosted in our early days, we were hosted on SoundCloud. So
That's where I started out too.
yeah,
SoundCloud, yeah.
I still have all of them. You can go all the way back, and like the first 10 episodes or less, it was actually American Otaku before Superhouse, and that was with Chris J. Alex, who is a voice actor now, and he's an actor too, but he's been mainly known for voice, and he's like quasi famous now. And I remember going to Comic-Con with him one year, and he was like upset, and I was like, "Why are you upset, dude?" And he was like, "I'm upset because I'm not part of a panel." And I was like, God, this guy's really ambitious, but he fucking did it though. Like he's at a like he voiced Panthro in the Thundercats reboot that everybody kind of doesn't like because it was like Teen Titans, two
Yeah.
carts. But still, he's part of Thundercats lore now, and he does other kind of shit. Other than that, of course, as well. I think he was in the Deathstroke. He's in the one of the Deathstroke cartoons as well.
Is it the movie that came out
The
recently?
movie, I think it's the movie. Yeah,
Yeah, that was
yeah,
badass. I like that a lot.
yeah. He's does. I feel bad. I haven't seen it yet, but he does a voice in that. So he actually went on to do his own thing, which is cool. Um, but yeah, I've just been at Fractured since then and doing all this other shit. So that's the long answer.
Nothing wrong with that, man.
Yeah.
And you already answered. What was your? I guess you haven't. What was your favorite part of it? I guess
Of what?
of just like your, I guess your career now, like just doing that, or yeah.
My favorite part now
Hmm.
is meeting celebrities.
Nice.
So they'll come in. I can't give specifics, but they come in to uh, get what's known as a life cast.
Hmm.
When they always say, I got straws in my nose," which is not true. There's never been straws in anybody's nose. I've asked people about this that know the history.
Hmm.
They put the goop on to get a cast of your face, but they just manually kind of just get the goop out of your nose. The goop doesn't go up your nose. There's like a special nose person that watches your nose.
Hmm.
So it's totally fine. And just meeting them. I mean, that's the best part. That's the best part.
Yeah. I used to work at NBC a while back, like doing camera work part time,
Nice.
and I only famous person I met there was what was that guy's name? He does the SNL, the acting thing.
Oh man,
What's
I
that
watch
guy's name?
SNL too, but
Is
I
it
don't know.
Lovitz? Lovitz.
Oh, Lovitz. I've heard he's an asshole.
Yeah, he is. He was. I
Yeah,
mean, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he got there and it was just one of those things where before the cameras started rolling, he was just I took a picture of it. Like he was just kind of sitting there like with his nose turned up, just kind of like, what the fuck is all this shit
It's
right
like,
here?
dude, you're not that famous.
Yeah,
You maybe used to be in the '90s, but it's been 30 years since then.
yeah.
You just can't. Also, you can't. Anyway, never mind. Let's keep going.
This ain't Rat Race, motherfucker.
Yeah, the critic admittedly was a funny cartoon, but
I forget he was in that, like that he was the star of that.
he that was like kind of like the Simpsons alternative for a couple years. But I'm sure he was an asshole, and it just didn't last.
Yeah. I know afterwards, I don't care because I don't work there anymore. But like the reporters or whoever was talking to him afterwards, like I thought he was supposed to be funny. Basically, like they said that he was up there. He's just
He's
kind of a
not.
dick.
He's just a dick. Fuck him, man.
Yeah. What means says fuck John Lovitz, but yeah,
Yeah, he's. I don't know. I mean, also this is the Kevin Smith thing too. They talk about him. They don't like him at all, and I can see that.
yeah. It's weird because didn't they used to not going too far off a tangent, but isn't that his or that theater? Didn't they used to use this theater
They
or
started there and they had a falling out, and they've talked about this on the podcast like openly. But
yeah.
there was some sort of falling out, and then they just moved on. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I listened to it, but it's been a couple years since I've listened to that, so I kind of forgot the specifics. But they moved to another theater, basically.
Yeah, because they have the castle now. Anyway, this isn't the Kevin Smith show, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
anyway. I guess I know you talk a lot on the show about your time in Japan.
Uh huh.
What was your time in Japan like, and did you go there for work or fun?
The first time I went was in 2004, and it was for fun. And I'd never been in another country before. I had to get my passport. That was in college, and the second time was also in college in '05. And then I moved there for work, but mainly for fun. But I had a job there. I was an English
Mm,
teacher. That was from '06 to '09.
nice.
Uh, and yeah, I just everybody asks like how'd you get into Japan, but it's like the same old story. It's just anime and video games that I grew up with. Like it's it's and of course I like the culture and language and stuff too. But the if you want to talk about the beginning,
Hmm.
it was anime and video games. And like in the '90s, there Sega and Nintendo. That was all there was for a good hot second. And that's the exact time I grew up in. It was after Atari, an American company, and it was before Microsoft came in, American company. So it's just Sega, Nintendo, and Sony, also Japanese. So uh it was just like every game I was growing up with pretty much was coming from Japan. So yeah, it's a combination of that and Karate Kid and all that. So
Gotcha. No, obviously me and you are both fans of Cobra Kai.
Ben likes it too, actually. Ben likes Cobra Kai as well.
Still waiting on that. You guys to cover that. I'm also on their Patreon. You guys, I'll include a
Oh
link to all
yeah.
your stuff. But yeah, I'm
Oh,
waiting for
thank
the
you.
Cobra Kai coverage on there.
Okay. I might need we could do like an overview because like now I can't remember specifics, but yeah, I've seen all of it. I've seen all of it for sure. I mean,
It's
it's
too
it's a
good.
gift. It's a gift of a show because it's like it shouldn't be that good.
Hmm.
And it is really cheesy, but it definitely knows what it is, and that's what's so great about it, right?
Self-aware. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I Karate Kid's always been my favorite movie, and like two and three weren't that good. Next Karate Kid, okay. The one with Will Smith's kid was honestly like okay. I didn't
Hmm.
hate it, but it's just nothing's like the first one. And it's cool to see my favorite movie be realized again, in this
Hmm.
great way.
Cool. But I know that you think they're ever, but just randomly thought about this. You ever think they're gonna bring what's it, Hillary Swank on the Cobra Kai?
Everybody is talking about that. Um, I don't know why they haven't yet. Because they did bring Allie back, right?
Yeah,
Allie
yeah,
with
they
an eye.
did. Yeah.
Yeah, briefly. Like, I guess Hillary Swank's the only one left, and I don't know what she's doing now. Like, it seems like it'd be a win-win.
Yeah.
And then they eventually do have to bring in, if they want to be really, comprehensive, is bring in Will Jaden Smith.
You think that Jaden would do it? I don't even know at this point. He might.
I mean, why not? It's part. I mean, even though it's like it is what it is, it's still part of the legacy at this point. So
That's a
sure,
solid movie.
it was okay. I
Yeah.
remember it was shot really well too. I think because Will Smith. I remember reading that Will Smith got one of the Harry Potter DPs on that, so it looks good.
Yeah. It was I remember the main thing I remember is the psychotic bullies that he had
Yeah,
in
the
there.
bully was kind of a standout, right? Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember that.
even worse than the one the first Karate Kid. That one he looks like a baby compared to what Jade Smith had to deal with.
No, yeah, yeah, he was terrible.
Yeah, but and I already kind of know this now, but like, would you describe yourself as a comic fan or a pop culture fan?
It's a good question. I mean, you can be both, right?
Yeah,
Uh, to be honest, I didn't read a lot of comics growing up. Uh, that's why I often try to say on superhero stuff you should know is that I learn with the audience because where I'm coming from on superhero stuff you should know is like mainly movie background. So when we talk about movies, I feel like I can really like get into it. But if it's like the specifics of No Man's Land or something, like I haven't read that yet. It's on my list. I have read Batman comics. I've read Superman comics. I've read a lot of comics, but
hmm
I've never had a pull list. I've I'm kind of been off and on. And honestly, like I had a hard time. Like I could read, obviously, but like even with comics, I remember like trying to read them when I was a kid, and like I just didn't have the patience for it. I didn't have the patience for reading like at all when I was a kid. But then cut to English class, and I was good at grammar and punctuation and spelling. But as far as like holding my attention for like several paragraphs, I like just could not do it. So, but you know, maybe more pop culture, but like the core me, I think, is movies and video games, and then comics came later,
Right.
actually. And I like reading them now. I mean, I read them a couple times a week, maybe not every day, but like having the apps, you know, it makes it so easy. So, and yeah, like when Ben came on, we were doing Batman movies, you know,
Hmm.
and then it got more into the comics realm. And then honestly, I felt out of my depth a little bit on certain episodes, but it's just like, just learn with the audience, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And I could talk stories and story structure from just taking screenwriting classes in college and shit. So I I can keep up in some ways, but like I'm nowhere near like obviously nowhere near the Batman historian that Ben is.
Trust me, I'm not either.
Like when I first met Ben, you know, I found that I knew he was a Batman fan. Like that was made clear pretty early on.
Hmm.
But you know, he didn't open up with like the craziest knowledge of all time immediately, right? Like it was just like, oh yeah, Batman. And then it was kind of casual. And then when we started doing the podcast more and more, it was just like, holy fuck, man.
Yeah.
this is this is this is like he knows like the cast of the Batman serials and shit. Like this is another level. So yeah.
Right. I know definitely for me when I was younger, obviously, I can't really go into my comic fandom without mentioning Kevin Conroy, which unfortunately he passed recently. I was surprised by that. I didn't even know that he was sick or anything, but
It was cancer, they said. That's what I
yeah.
read. I don't know what kind it was, but they said it was like maybe it was aggressive. I don't know.
Yeah. I
There's
just
no
heard it was,
details.
yeah, it's early on is what I heard. But I know that I saw Batman like every 90s kid. I saw Batman the animated series and I was just like, what is this? And I like watched an episode and the Joker used to scare me, like especially when they used to do the thing where the Joker smile where it like would stretch their faces out. I remember as a kid just being, I don't think I was ready for that yet. I was like, whoa.
How old are you?
I am about to turn 30 this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you must have seen it in reruns,
Yeah, I
maybe.
saw I saw it on
Yeah.
Cartoon Network.
Oh, they're playing it then. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I I'm 8 years older than you, so like I saw it like first run on Fox.
Nice.
It was the shit. Fox was really killing it at for a time. I think it was on Fox because WB was not a thing yet, or CW definitely wasn't. So I think it ran on Fox, and Fox had like X-Men and everything on there. Power Rangers,
Oh yeah.
you know?
It was I definitely remember Power Rangers. I can't remember. I think I was way more into Batman. I do know that there was a either a home movie, I think it was a home movie of me sitting in front of my dad had this TV up till recently. It was like one of those giant box TVs that like would
Yeah.
sit on the floor with the speakers in the front.
Yeah.
But I would there's a like a thing of video of me sitting in front of the TV like inches away from it. I think I had like my Batman like action figure in my hand and like
Sick.
yeah, like a pajama set. I think it had like a cape on the back of it.
You were
Yeah.
ready. Yeah.
I was into
Yeah.
it.
That's awesome. Yeah, there's a picture of me and my brothers at Christmas with like the Batwing from '89,
Nice.
like with the box and everything, like the gold box, and oh man, those toys are so cool.
I got some without getting up. I have Bob the Goon back there without
Oh man.
without his hat though. Like I got a flea market, so unfortunately I guess his hat didn't make it. I don't know.
Okay. Okay.
And then I have like some other stuff. I think it was from Batman Returns, but I had the one where you could hit the little button on the side. There's a Batmobile, and I think it's attached and stuff like that.
Okay.
But yeah, just like little stuff like that. And then it got like it's like a toy store in here. I got a bunch of action figures on the wall back
Okay.
here.
I have
But
some on the top here, but you can't see them ever because of the books.
yeah. But when I got back into comics, I was actually because I think I took a break. I forget what happened, but my dad got me this big. I don't think they even sell it anymore. It's this big Batman book. And I was just flipping through it, just looking at the pictures. And I remember seeing like Dark Knight Returns. I'd never heard of it. And
Oh yeah.
I was like maybe 11 at the most, maybe 10. And like I saw like Joker there, they had the panel where like Joker twists his neck and breaks it.
Yeah.
And I was not ready for that at all. I'm like, oh my God, what is going on?
I thought this was Batman.
Yeah, why is he killing himself?
Yeah.
But
That
yeah,
reminds me of like when I was getting into anime at first, it felt so like I don't know, like it was kind of ahead of the curve in some ways. It
adult.
was it was definitely ramping up like in popularity, but it was like in the mid 90s, people really didn't know what it was. And especially my parents, so they would like let me watch kind of whatever because they didn't know that anime was had a lot of adult shit. They're like, "Ah, it's a cartoon." So like looking back, like Ninja Scroll was a big one for me growing up. There's like, there's a rape scene in that. There's a lot of blood in that.
Jesus.
You know what I mean? And I watched
Yeah.
that several times. Well, like a shitload because I was a kid and it was ninjas fucking killing a lot of people.
Yeah. It's a darker version, I guess. Have you read or checked out the Ronin? Nice. That's really cool.
It's a fucking sick
That's a cool set.
8 Men After is another one. This was one of the first anime I ever saw.
I've heard
Uh
of that before, I think. Isn't that like RoboCop kind of?
yeah, you might have heard me talk about it.
Yeah, that's probably what I heard.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like RoboCop.
Nice.
Uh what was your question? Sorry.
I actually lost my train of thought too. We got talking about nerdy
Okay.
stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, but yeah, it was a bunch of shit in anime I wasn't ready for sure.
Oh, I remember. Have you, I know you said you're a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fan. I
Oh
haven't
yeah.
read it yet. Have you checked out? There's like a comic that's supposed to be like the equivalent of Dark Knight Returns for them, that Ronin
The
thing. Yeah,
Last Ronin. Yeah. I have read it. I actually have it here, but this is borrowed from a friend.
nice.
My friend I said I haven't read it yet, and he was like, "What?" And so he was like, "You let me borrow this." But yeah, it's like a very adult Ninja Turtle story. Really dark, kind of a one shot too, unless it spins off in some weird way. But yeah, check it out, man. It's pretty cool.
Nice.
I read it in one sitting, which is which is rare, which is rare for me.
Yeah. I get it. But I know I actually started reading the IDW stuff like years back when it first started, when they
Oh
relaunched
yeah,
it with Eastman and everything, where it was like
yeah.
much more. It was still like still had that fun element to it, but it was a little bit more adult too. And then I actually saw them on a panel, the creators at like a comic convention, and I thought I was going to be like, okay, he's going to talk a lot about the creation of this. This will be really good. He got up there and talked about his, I think it was Eastman, talked about like his mustache at different points. Like there was pictures of him like holding up like the different progression and stuff like that. Like he held up the napkin, that he drew it was either him or Lair drew the turtle on there.
Okay.
And then half of it was just him making jokes about this is where my mustache was at this point and stuff like that. Like he'd just be showing pictures up on this big thing for everybody to see.
I think
So
they've gone to so many conventions they start to lose their minds.
yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, you kind of answered this already, but how did you meet your co-host, and were you friends before?
Yeah, we were friends before the podcast. Yeah, so we met at Deluxe, which was the Blu-ray QC place. I think that he was doing Blu-ray QC as well, but he was, I think, doing it for Disney, and I was doing it for. Well, I started out with doing it for Paramount. They had it like kind of split up by company.
Hmm.
So yeah, and then it was in Burbank, and I think he lives there, and it was it was a cool gig for a while. So we met there, and that's I think we had a burger or something one time, and then like, I mean, he talked about this before on the show, but like we went to go have a burger one time on our well, really dinner break because this was night shift. I was working,
Mm-hmm.
the deluxe was night shift, so it was like from 4 to midnight or something.
Wow.
But I'm sure he's okay with me telling this, but like he told me he had cancer, uh, you know, on lunch break,
Mm-hmm.
and was like, "Fuck, this has never happened to me before." But of course he lived through it. But it was just
Yeah.
like, damn, this is crazy.
Mm.
He had lymphoma, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I
Yeah,
know he's definitely mentioned before about the cancer, but yeah. I guess I noticed like, and we talked about this earlier with the podcast and how you started, but like you said earlier, I noticed that it changed from, I know you said you used to reviews and you thought that just being more informative would be just something different. Because I know a lot of you throw a rock, and I do what mean for fun, and I'll do reviews and stuff, but occasionally I'll do commentaries and other things just to mix it up. But I know you throw a rock and you hit like a movie reviewer online and stuff like that. So,
yeah,
but the
yeah. It was just it was a 2 or 3 years. I don't know how long we did that, but that started with Batman versus Superman, I think, and then went all the way up until just before Avengers Endgame came out. That's when that podcast kind of dispersed because the other guys got. I talk with them I talk with them every day
mhm.
on our little Discord chat, but like we uh everybody, it was just too much, and everybody like went their own separate ways and just couldn't make it. And some guys were already like kind of leaving, and Stefan was kind of the last of that bunch to kind of stay with us, but then he got busy as well. Um, and then there's like 2 or 3 episodes where I'm doing the podcast by myself, some solo ones, like the Avengers Endgame review episode is just me.
Mhm.
Then Ben comes on a little bit after that. So yeah, it's had a few iterations there.
Okay. But I know that we're now going to get into the meat, what you all came here to see and listen to. The We're going to get into the meat
Hopefully,
of the mysterious Amano Recon. What were some of your influences making Amano Recon, other than the stuff you mentioned with the elevator pitch?
some of the influences.
Yes.
Uh, so Fire in the Sky. It's definitely a big one. Do you know that one?
I've heard of it. I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, so it's a alien abduction horror movie in 1993 based on a real account of an abduction story that happened in 75. I think 75, sometime in the 70s.
Hmm.
And it has the most horrific uh abduction sequence I've ever seen. It
Nice.
happens like 3/4 of the way through the movie. Um, so it's like if you're not going to see aliens like when you first watch the movie. It's kind of like a conspiracy light. What I wouldn't say it's like a heavy conspiracy thriller, but anyway, it's kind of just a drama up until that point.
Hmm.
And it's still good though. It's worth seeing. And but like definitely the abduction sequences, we kind of like lifted some of that as much as we could with what we have available.
Let me
Um,
share the screen real quick so they can actually see some of it. I have your website pulled
oh
up.
yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
so they can have some visual stuff to go along with it.
So it's that and Power Rangers, of course. Japanese tokusatsu. Tokusatsu means special effects, which includes Super Sentai, which is the Japanese version of Power Rangers, and also Kamen Rider. You might have heard of that, also called Masked Rider in America sometimes. And then what you call it? I mean, even Godzilla is tokusatsu. So anything with special effects. So yeah, you have Power Ranger, and you have, I mean, it's not a Power Ranger, but it's a similar kind of thing. And then aliens, right? So uh for me growing up, and also I think watching Unsolved Mysteries, there's something about those alien abduction episodes of Unsolved Mysteries that really affected me. So, and I always thought they were like the most realistic monster. Uh, so that's those kind of stories always kind of fascinated me. So I wanted alien abduction, horror, and Power Rangers. Let's mix these two ideas together. Plus, it's kind of fertile ground. No one's ever really done this before. They have done kind of horror Kamen Rider in Japan, especially. That's been done. So um, they're trying to, but there is some movement in America now to make Power Rangers darker as well. There's a lot of that. You see that with the unofficial bootleg universe by Adi Shankar. And you see that with Legend of the White Dragon that Jason David Frank is a part of, I think, with Bat in the Sun. Um, so that's, I think, coming out soon. And you see that with us now. Hopefully, we get as much traction as Legend of the White Dragon is getting. Yeah, this is really cool. I love this. And you know, to be honest, like think about how superheroes were thought of before now, like back in the day, and
Yeah.
like especially our parents' age. Silly, dumb, not worth watching, not worth telling stories about, right?
Hmm.
And that's kind of what they're saying about Power Rangers now. So I think that Power Rangers and this whole thing, this whole subgenre of tokusatsu will kind of level up. And it's cool if it stays a kid's show. I want that to stay a kid's show. That's perfectly fine. But it needs to be another side. There needs to be a Dark Knight Returns for Power Rangers.
Right.
And, there's a lot of people trying to do this now, it seems like. And that's what we're trying to do. So, yeah, like, I want it to be like a fun horror too, like Ash versus the Evil Dead or Reanimator or something. I don't want to like movies like Hereditary and shit. Like they're cool, but they're not. They're completely joyless. So
Yeah.
I want this to have some joy because it's a fucking Power Ranger show. Again, it's not a Power Ranger. This is not a fan film. We're doing an original idea, but definitely has those influences. It's an alien technology suit. Uh, I've said this. This is already public, but they get the suits from the alien abduction unknowingly. So that's our big idea here. And the tone, Stranger Things too, obviously another one. Like it's fun, but also dark. Ensemble cast. Ours would be maybe how Stranger Things is now with a little bit older cast. We won't do like the little kid cast
Yeah.
because of how R-rated it is. Well, I guess Stranger Things is probably R-rated. It's pretty bloody, man. But
Yeah.
so yeah, this is the man pitch. Stranger Things meets Power Rangers. That's the biggest. That's the shortest way I can put it. So yeah, dark but fun. We want to have heart too, and yeah, just all my favorite shit thrown together. The lead, Ami Shimada, she is Japanese, not even Japanese American. She is Japanese. She has an accent when she speaks English. Who gives a fuck? It's cool. I think
Yeah.
it
It's
adds
cool.
it adds something to us. We need that authenticity. It needs that connection to Japan. I'm often kind of upset to hear just how little the Power Rangers American cast knows about their Japanese counterpart. They generally don't know a fucking single fucking thing about it. And like, if I was a producers, I would have them like sit down and watch that Japanese show before they even like start the new show, the American side of the show that
Hmm.
they're basing it on. Like, know a little bit, man. I think some of them know some, but I've even heard like Jason David Frank, the original Green Ranger in America, and Austin St. John, the original Red Ranger in America. I think they've said shit like they've never really watched the show ever.
Wow.
Somebody correct me out there if I'm saying something out of my ass, but I think that's right. And it's just insane to me. Like you go to conventions every week, like they live off these conventions, and you've never even seen the show you're famous for. It just upsets me. But
Yeah.
Anyway, Amano Recon is on Indiegogo now, and it's like GoFundMe. We're crowdfunding. Any other specific questions?
Uh,
Those are the main influences, I guess.
I think well, this one should be interesting, and then we can also spring it just because we're on the last question doesn't mean we have to stop talking. But
Yeah.
what do you enjoy more, podcasting or making Amino Recon, or your career?
Uh, I like it all. It's hard to say. I mean, my dream is to direct.
Gotcha.
Okay. And that's what Amino is all about. I mean, it's all about me, no one else. I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
True director.
but but and I say this in the Indiegogo pitch video. It's after the short film.
Mhm.
Like it's cool that Indiegogo exists and crowdfunding exists because I think in the back of my mind, I was almost like subconsciously waiting to be discovered without doing anything, you know?
Mhm.
So, and I went to film school, but like it was years ago now at this point. It almost doesn't even fucking matter. And like, I just wanted to, I did documentaries before. I've done documentaries more than narrative. And I wanted to kind of do this. And this was kind of thought of in the pandemic, like during lockdown also. And I was like, dude, it's fucking time, man. Let's do
Yeah.
something. And Indiegogo just seems like the thing to do it, man. So we thought of our idea and we actually wrote the pilot first. And then we started talking to Indiegogo people, and they're like, "Well, you need a pitch video." We're fucking. We don't know what we're doing, so we're just like, "Oh yeah, we do need a pitch video." Fuck. So then we had to go back and write the 5 minute like short film. That's more of a pitch video, which is right. We're not going to get funding if we don't have a pitch video. So we did that, and it's like a proof of concept kind of video, and that's on Indiegogo and YouTube as well. And kind of shows the horror and Power Rangers and some comedy, all that kind of. It's pretty decent at getting our point across, at getting what we're trying to do here. Because if you say Power Rangers and horror, people are like, people kind of don't get it.
Yeah.
But but people didn't understand adult Batman either for a while. To go
There you
back to my
go.
other point, right? So um yeah, that's what we want to do. We want to have some of the cheesiness also, not as much as the kids show, but some of it just for fun, for the fun sake of it. And also I don't know if this is true or not, but Shotaro Ishinomori is the guy that created Super Sentai, which is Power Rangers.
Hmm.
And I think if somebody can find this quote for me, I found this on a documentary on YouTube about the history of Power Rangers, and I asked them where this source was. So I don't know the source of this, but they said that he said that Ishinomori said that Power Rangers is horror for children. So because there's monsters in it all the time,
Hmm.
it's a monster of the week show. So
Hmm.
and like so horror actually is baked into this whole idea if this source is true, which it kind of does make sense with the monsters and everything. So X-Files is another one, man. And like
Oh yeah.
conspiracy theories, like I don't believe in many conspiracy theories, hardly any at all. I'm a skeptic at heart, but I do think that they're fun. And like the lizard people and fucking all that crazy shit on Rogan and everything. Like,
Chemtrails and shit.
yeah, like we might not go into chemtrails, but like the Men in Black, the conspiracy theory version of Men in Black, those are our
Hmm.
villains. And they're you ever heard of this? Like the conspiracy theory version of them?
Oh, they just show up and like there's an alien like abduction or anything. They show up and basically make the people stop talking about it, kind of thing.
I
Right?
think that's part of it. That was in the movie too, but like the Men in Black conspiracy theory version, in my understanding, is that they too are aliens posing as humans, and there's a uncanny valley effect when you're talking to them in person, Like there's just something off about them. Like it's really unnerving. Uh, and they're here for their own purposes, which I forget that part of the conspiracy theory, but they're just really like there's just real something's off about them. So I think that's really cool. Something kind of really creepy about that. So, and also it's a budget thing. Like we don't have the budget to make a fucking monster like Power Rangers. So we just put a guy in a fucking suit and go from there. And I gotta say, also slasher films, as dumb as they can be, they're fun.
Hmm.
And like Jason, Freddy, Scream, you know, I do kind of want to slash. Like, what if the Power Rangers fought Freddy? You know, what if they fought Jason? Right?
Yeah.
Like, I think that's a real fun idea. So if you put the spirit of that into Amano Recon, you kind of have what we're going for.
Nice. I know that I was looking at the poster that Zach did, and I noticed that right here, the mask kind of reminds me a little bit. You said, was it Common Rider or something?
Yeah, it's Common Rider.
Yeah, reminds me a lot of it. It looks really cool though.
Yeah, Common Rider. Thank you. It's a Common Rider is originally based on a grasshopper. You can see that
Really?
in the design, in the older designs. If you look at the newer ones, they've gone so far
Hmm.
from this is one of the interesting things about Japanese fandom. Like you can really just mess it the fuck up, and as long as that story is somewhat there, the fans will still show up. It's like Batman getting a yellow suit, with no cowl or something. Like
Yeah.
it's just like they really seem to like have a lot of tolerance for change, whereas American audiences don't. So that's kind of funny. But yeah, the older ones had like more of a horror vibe too. Kamen Rider Black, which has just been rebooted. It's on Kamen Rider Black Sun is
Hmm.
based on Kamen Rider Black and Kamen Rider Black RX, which were really horror based Kamen Riders in the 80s. So I would recommend watching those if you can. They're
Okay.
silly, but they're not as silly as Power Rangers. It is definitely a little bit more adult, and that's a big influence on us as well. And Black Sun just came out. Like the episodes are airing right now in Japan, and they're on Prime.
Oh, I'll check that
So
out then.
yeah, and there's another horror one called in America. It's called Amazon Rider, which is perfect because in Japan. It's Kamen Rider Amazons, but it's on Amazon Prime as Amazon Rider. So, uh, yeah, again, it's like it's tokusatsu kind of like from American perspective, even though it's a lot more adult. It just looks like a guy in a suit, but there's always something charming about that, especially from the
Yeah.
Japanese side. So, so yeah, they're doing it up.
Um, have you, we were talking about Power Rangers and like more adult takes. Have you, I know you said that you're a fan of the movie that came out. Have you read the comics at all or?
Oh, I love this Renaissance. Yeah, I've read a few of them. It kind of got boring, but I can't remember where it got boring. But I definitely read the first. I don't know. Let's say the first three trades worth or whatever it is, maybe.
Hmm.
Uh, and then I kind of fell off, and I've heard it's gotten good again. I read the whole Draken thing. I love that. It's also that's darker too. Again, that's again people trying to level up this franchise.
Hmm.
Uh, and it's only happening in the West. I don't think this is happening in Japan
Hmm.
because Kamen Rider kind of fulfills that void. I think like we got the dark tokusatsu show. It's right there. It's Kamen Rider,
Yeah.
but in America we don't have that. We just have Power Rangers, which is really set for like 8 to 9 year olds, and it's like hard to. I mean, there's some. I went back. Okay, so let me back up. 2017 movie comes out.
Hmm.
I actually really do like it. I bought the Blu-ray. I thought it was decent enough. They should have been more in the. They should have been the suits more. They
Hmm.
really only get in the suits in the third act, really,
Yeah.
which that kind of sucked. But I like that they tried to be Breakfast Club and they were focusing on characters. That movie, up until that point, I had in my heart, I had given myself the okay to be okay with Batman and like be okay with like my stuff for my kids, for my child generation. Like before like 2014, I think I'd kind of like I never totally set it aside. I definitely see all the movies, but I wasn't like reading comics and I wasn't going to conventions and like I think before that this is kind of just before I don't know. I guess the Marvel boom had already happened in 2008. But I don't know. I still hadn't totally let the kid side of me come back. And then but I was okay with that with like Batman and American comics, but Power Rangers a little bit more childish maybe. And I hadn't like totally let that come back to me. But then the 2017 movie comes out, tidal wave of nostalgia, and I was just like, fuck it. I let everything else. I'm all the rest of this kid shit. Let me let this shit back in my heart as well, basically. So that kind of started me back. And then I started watching. I didn't actually go back and rewatch Power Rangers, the Mighty Morphin, the first season or two,
Hmm.
but I did go back and watch. There's a few seasons of the Japanese show called Jetman, which is the most adult version of the show, uh, which came out in like 84 or something. I did the Google search like best Sentai, and Jetman was always popping up. So I watched that. And it was, again, it's kind of silly, but it's a little bit more adult than the other seasons. And then there's another one that's childish but good called Kaizoku Ranger or something like it's a pirate. It's Super Mega Force in America. I forget that it's a long title in Japanese, but anyway, it's got a pirate theme, but it's an anniversary season where their power is that they can morph into anybody from past seasons. So there's always like cameos from the Japanese side popping
Huh.
up, which was really cool. So it's a really fun season. And that was highly reviewed, and Kamen Rider Black was another one. And then I watched so some of the American side, people's if you Google best Power Rangers seasons, this always pops up. Time Force,
Hmm.
and which is a good one. And God, what was the other one? Oh, In Space,
Hmm.
which was I think one of the best ones because it feels like low budget Star Wars meets Power Rangers. And that
Hmm.
was so fun. It's all on Netflix. You should check it out. It was really fun. I watched the whole thing, and they have cool suits and there's Zords fight in space and shit. Like I really like, sci-fi, so like I thought that it was really cool. So, man, I've turned into Kevin Smith. I even lost the original thread here.
It's all right.
Going off like this.
It's okay. But I know that you mentioned Power Rangers too. I remember watching one where they were like police or something. There was like a blue dog or something like that.
SPD.
Yeah, that one was good.
That is, I think, another well-reviewed one. Yeah, that I haven't seen that one, but the characters are in the Power Rangers fighting game Battle for the Grid.
Hmm.
So they must have some sort of popularity because they it kills me because there's a group of evil rangers called the Psycho Rangers, and
Yeah.
they're in space, and Willie Wingert did a voice for one of the Psycho Rangers apparently,
Oh yeah.
but but they should bring them into that game. But anyway, yeah, it's just really cool to see the fandom where it's at, uh, and like the Kyle Higgins and Ryan Parrott comic run.
Hmm.
Um, it just show, and there's a convention, Power Morphicon. There's conventions just for Power Rangers. Like this fandom is very strong, and Netflix has a new season coming out. I think Netflix bought it, and then they're gonna have
Oh,
another movie too. Like Power Rangers is really coming back in a very big way. And Stefan told me this actually. They could do Power Rangers in the Cobra Kai tone because it's cheesy, knows it's cheesy,
mm,
lots of fucking karate fighting. Like the only thing missing, the only thing really different is the monsters. So you have to
yeah,
kind of figure that out. But like, that's kind of get the Cobra Kai people on it because that show can't last forever, So I think that would be awesome.
yeah. On another like a side note, just I thought about Cobra Kai. I really hope that I forget what the guy's name is, but the main guy from Cobra Kai, like the kid. I really hope that he gets to play Blue Beetle because like if you look at the comic, he looks exactly like
Oh, Solo something.
yeah,
He is
yeah,
Blue. He is Blue Beetle.
yeah, but I hope they actually make that movie like Warner Brothers doesn't just pull a
Oh,
Batgirl and like just be like, we're not making this
oh,
anymore.
it's definitely been shot as far as I know. I mean, it has been shot. I don't know if it's completely shot, but just from the news, well, they haven't canceled it yet, and the tax season is over for them, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So, uh, I think that they're good, but yeah, I think that'll release.
Good. Because I know there was, and this is could just be a side tangent, and we can go back to whatever we're talking about. But I know that obviously, like we're talking about adult stuff, and you're talking about anime. I remember the first adult thing I saw was like Smallville, and being like, "Whoa, they're like treating this stuff like they're cussing and doing other stuff like that."
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And being a super sheltered, like I went to a Christian school for like kindergarten to fifth grade. I was like, whoa, they're cussing and they're making
yeah.
out and stuff, and it blew my mind. And then they had Blue Beetle on it randomly, and they're supposed to spin it off or something into like a show that didn't really look that good. I don't know, but there's supposed
Blue
to be a
Beetle
show.
was gonna spin off.
Yeah, I'll link a trailer to you later, but they made like a concept trailer of it, and the
What?
CG looked bad because it was the earlier 2000s, but it was
Yeah,
also like test footage, and he was like it's like in an apartment or something, and you see him suit up. But yeah, they were gonna make it.
I actually downloaded that Aquaman pilot with Ving Rhames.
Oh
It
man.
it wasn't that good, but I mean, it was a CW thing. Like, I'm sure they could have made that into something fine, but Aquaman, dude, it's just like that's a lot of CG, especially for early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
It wouldn't have
that's a,
been. I don't know. It wouldn't have been. It was back when they were scared to have superheroes wear costumes, though. So he probably would have just wore orange, like swimming trunks or something, and swam around in the water.
he was like a surfer dude look with
Yeah.
no suit yet. But then again, it was just a pilot, so whatever. But yeah, I think I have that on my iTunes still. You can buy that.
It was on a DC Universe, I think.
Oh, is
For
it? Yeah.
for a minute, it was until I'm still bummed out about that.
There
Bless
was an
you.
Thank you. There was an Aquaman. There was an Aquaman documentary on DC Universe too for a bit,
That was so
which was.
weird.
Did you see it?
I saw a little bit of it. I'm like, I guess it was just like, was it a fluff piece or for the movie or
I think they released it because of the movie, but it definitely told you about the history of Aquaman, which was
okay.
cool.
Yeah. I know that I haven't seen the new Black Panther
I
movie
just
yet.
saw it yesterday.
Was it good?
It's good. Yeah, I think Ben kind of hinted that he didn't love it, but like I don't know. I think it was fine.
I'm
It's
excited
definitely
for Namor because that's what his name is now, right? Namor instead of Namor.
they say every. I was paying attention. They say like every pronunciation of that name in the movie.
Nice.
So yeah, I don't want to spoil it for you, but
Oh yeah, no,
I,
no, I
I thought
was
it was good. It comes in heavy because because of Bozeman's death.
mhm.
But and that kind of just gives the whole film more weight, right? I think so. Yeah, it's definitely like one of the weightier Marvel films for sure.
Cool. I know that wasn't he. I don't know if it's just how he was drawn, but like I always assumed Namor was like he looked like he was Asian or something. Just, but I could be wrong. I don't know. Just based off how he was drawn.
I am no expert, but yeah, I think that they added the Aztec thing for the movie just to kind of give him some more cultural resonance,
Yeah,
which is cool. It works, and in the story, you'll see
yeah.
it really works. I think. I thought it was cool how they kind of mixed all that together.
Does he
Also,
fly?
Aquaman's come out, and I think Namor is in Atlantis also
Mm-hmm.
in the comics, his own Atlantis.
Mm-hmm.
So Aquaman's come out, he's got Atlantis, like they've already done that. So like this is Marvel kind of doing their own thing, which is
Uh,
cool.
I'm surprised because I know that they're getting a little bit more adventurous with Namor. I'm surprised still that they did the wing feet thing.
Yeah, they they did the wing feet, which really to me worked. It was cool, pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like there's some for a guy with fucking little wings on his ankles. There's like really badass shots of him in the movie, and they make him really menacing.
He looks like he's like, I think because I read something he was originally supposed to be in it, like him and Black Panther were gonna face off or something before Chadwick passed or something.
Oh, I mean, yeah, no one saw. I mean, everybody was just kind of hoping for the best, I think. But
Yeah.
yeah, they probably weren't going to give up the mantle to anybody else that quickly for sure.
Yeah. Well, I meant like I read something where Chadwick Boseman was actually really excited when he's still around about like they had wanted to cast that guy as Namor even way back then. And so he was
Right,
really excited to make that whatever version of that. I think he was originally supposed to be the replacement for Iron Man, kind of like Black Panther was, where he was going to kind of be the leader and stuff like that.
right.
But hold on one second. I need to turn on my lights. It's getting kind of dark.
Okay.
Let's see if it turns. Oh wait, hold on. There we go. All right, cool. We got the fancy lights on. But yeah, cool. I guess that's it, man.
Okay.
All
Thank you
right.
for having me.
Yeah, it was great having you on. And I know that before, usually it's never usually been one on one with us. So it's definitely cool just having a one on one chat
Yeah.
and everything. I'll definitely include a link. Guys, go check out the video. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Also a side note, I really thought it was cool how at the beginning of the video, the teaser that you guys made, like she wasn't speaking English and stuff like that. I thought that was kind of cool.
Oh yeah. We again, we want to have like a pretty good connection to Japan with this whole thing. And um, since I live there, I'm not Japanese, but I feel like I can kind of know what to look out for and help create a good mix of all of this and always be talking with the Japanese side. Uh and yeah, what kind of I don't know. Yeah, I like the mix of Japan and I guess mainly American horror. Now that I think about it, I like Japanese horror too, but maybe that's where our mix is. I don't know. But yeah, it's cool.
Nice.
Thanks for watching it,
Sure.
and I do appreciate it. And please, everybody, check out our Indiegogo now. Just I can give you a link, but also yeah, just search Indiegogo.com for Amano Recon, Amano space Recon.
Nice. But yeah, I definitely look forward to it. I know that you said it'd be probably a while before you release anything more, but definitely guys check it out. I include links to everything like super stuff you should know, your newer podcast, and then also the Indiegogo link as well. But
Thank you. Yeah, the other one's Gaming Gaiden, and that's where we uh interview video game translators, and also this coming week EGM writers, Electronic Gaming Monthly, a magazine that I
nice.
grew up with in the 90s. A guy named Dan Shu. I haven't told anybody else this.
Oh, got an
But
exclusive.
yeah, you got exclusive. But in the review section, actually, this is pre Dan Shu, but anyway, this is a video game magazine. Had video game reviews before the internet. This was like the main thing I was all about. And one of the writers, he became editor in chief, but he started out as a reviewer, I think. And he's on this week, and we interview him, and it's about gaming. It's about Japan, retro gaming, and EGM, Electronic Gaming Monthly. But most of the season, the 10 episodes that we recorded, we were interviewing video game translators and what their job is like and what the industry is like. And it's really interesting because they don't even get credit on the fucking game.
Wow.
Like there's no credit generally. Maybe it depends on the game, but like they're kind of unknown. And if it wasn't for them, those Japanese games would never leave Japan. Like they're extremely important. They would not make any profit in foreign territories if it weren't for the translators. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, the Final Fantasy series is huge. Needs a translator, obviously, you know? So that's just one example. But yeah, so that's gaming Gaiden. Gaming, and then Gaiden is Gaiden. Gaiden means supplemental story.
Okay. I didn't even know. See, learn something new every day. I didn't even know
Yeah.
that.
Ninja Gaiden. Remember that game?
Yeah, I've heard. I need to get more into gaming. I'm more of a casual gamer myself, but
You know, this has been a eye opening for me doing the podcast, superhero stuff.
mhm.
Like the game to me, the gaming world and the comics world overlapped a lot, but it seems like they don't overlap as much as I thought. Because a lot of people that listen to superhero stuff pod like just know a little bit about video games, which is fine. It's cool, but it's just like I don't know. I thought that there was more overlap than there is.
I got my first well, that's a lie. My first console was a PS1, but I got my first console that I gamed with consistently because Arkham Asylum came out, and I'm like, I gotta play this fucking
Oh
game.
yeah,
But yeah,
PS3.
I got Xbox 360 actually,
Oh
but
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I got
My
one
first
back recently.
my first console was the first Nintendo, man.
Yeah.
Going way back.
Nice. But yeah, awesome. So I've been meaning to check out the like the Power Rangers, the comics. I've heard it described by, I forget who said it, but somebody said it's kind of like how your childhood brain remembers Power Rangers being versus what it actually was.
Oh, dude, I have a whole other story like that before we go. This will be quick.
No, no, you take your time. You got any stories? Go ahead. You cut
So,
loose.
so my exact age, I think it came out in like 93. So I was 9 or yeah, 8 or 9, 8 going on 9 that year, right?
Mhm.
So pretty young, right?
Right.
Not that mature. But Power Rangers comes out and everybody in class I remember was like, well not everybody, but definitely like a lot of people, a lot of the kids were like that show's for babies. You know, that show isn't cool. And I remember thinking it was the most badass thing I had ever fucking seen
Mhm.
because especially like stuff like the Zord footage from Japan where it's like miniatures and just the designs of the Zords and like the way they're shot was like shit you just didn't see in America.
Mhm.
And even though I didn't know that, I felt like I was kind of keying into something new, it was something new to me. And I thought that was cool. And I was like, why are we so on board for Ninja Turtles, but not this? Like, why? Like everybody in the fucking universe was okay with Ninja Turtles. Like it was like that was people my age, been born in '84. That was our shit. My God, it was like seriously, like anybody you can talk to, guy or girl, like that. That was like the biggest thing. Then Power Rangers comes along, and I was like, cool, ready to move on. This is awesome. I can move on from Ninja Turtles to this. Love it. And it was just like I felt so I remember feeling like so estranged from everybody. Like, why does no one else like this as much as I do? You know, it was so like everybody has matured. I was also the youngest in class, so
Mhm.
everybody else was 9 or 10. I was just like, does that make that much of a difference? You're still just 10 years old. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't really looking back at just like, I don't know, but I've talked to and they said this on the last podcast on the left too, recently. One of the co-hosts was like, said kind of the same thing. When Power Rangers came out, he was like, oh, that's just a cash grab. I don't want that. Meanwhile,
Mhm.
he's surrounded by Ninja Turtles toys. You know what I mean? Like, okay, I guess you're just so mature, but like it was just some people just didn't get it. They just didn't, it just they had already matured. But now looking back on Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, I see now why everybody else was over it because
Mhm.
it is pretty immature. But I don't know. I just still liked it. It was just still my thing. And I like the. It's mainly especially when you're that age, it's mainly the suit design and the monster designs. Story can be whatever, but and I like martial arts too. So it's just like, why does everybody hate this shit? But yeah, looking back, I kind of see where everybody else is coming from.
Mhm.
But at the time, man, I did not get it. I just did not. Um, I didn't get why everybody else was had moved on so much. But Yeah, that's it, I guess, man. Thank you for letting me spiel.
Yeah, sure, man. I know that you mentioned earlier that Netflix thing. Is that I don't get why they didn't make a sequel to the that one that came out in was it 2017? Because I thought that one was solid.
It just didn't make quite enough money,
Mm,
I think. Um, it made okay. It wasn't a bomb, but it I don't think it warranted a sequel. And I think the main problem with that movie, again, they they go the whole fucking movie without being in those suits.
yeah.
We don't get a Zord fight till the third act. Like that should be done by the from at the from first act going into second. It was just it kind of killed me, man. But I mean, look, it was yeah, I liked it. I wish they made more. Whatever Netflix is doing, I think is going to be maybe a little bit aged up, but I don't think it'll be that aged up. It's probably still going to be for kids, but the legacy cast is coming back for it, which is cool. It's the first time they've all been back, I think, since the original, and I think there's a movie deal too, but it'll be a Netflix movie, as far as I know.
Okay.
So, uh, and maybe that'll have even a different thing. But yeah, there's just so much that, and a lot of people say that when Marvel has like big crossovers and, um, you know, people coming in from different universes, like Power Rangers has been doing that.
Hmm.
I don't, I mean, maybe not as long as DC has in the comics, but as far as like in live action superhero type shows, they've been doing that for years and years and years.
Yeah.
So,
Um, cool. One of the things, and I know I really like the fan film they made. I know it's obviously never going to be as dark as that, but the
yeah, that apparently the Vimeo version even has nudity, which I have not seen.
yeah, I don't know. I know he made that kind of as like a parody, not to be taken 100% seriously, but at least that's what I
Yeah,
remember. But it irked me because he had like them firing guns, and I forgot about that before, and I was like, I wish they had like swords or something. Like I don't know.
that was part of them making it darker, I guess. At least they were like blasters, but I
Yeah,
mean the Power Rangers did have blasters, so
yeah.
it's not out of the question.
Just I like how you guys did that with the glowing swords and everything. I thought that's like
Oh
it's
yeah,
cool. Yeah.
there's there's another tokusatsu hero called Space Sheriff Gavin,
Mhm.
Gavan, and he's cool. He could definitely be brought over to America too, and he's got a lightsaber as well. Uh, and so we kind of wanted to take that. Yeah, I mean, fuck, it's lightsabers, dude. It's laser swords.
Yeah.
Definitely want to have that in our show.
Right.
So, yeah.
I know I think I talked to you before I interviewed the guy from Bible Man, the main villain that was on there. And speaking of laser swords, I asked him, I was like, "Do you guys ever get any legal trouble for that?" And he's like, "That's a good question." He's like, most of it was just like we just called them laser swords or something like that, and it was fine. Like they didn't have a copyright on like the glowing swords thing, or Lucasfilm
I
didn't
don't think
really.
you, it's too, I mean, they're iconic. People are going to call them lightsabers, but
Hmm.
I think it's too generic of an idea ultimately, a laser sword. I think that's
Hmm.
just, you just change it the way it looks a little bit and you're good, I think.
And actually, I know I interviewed him a while back, and he, looping way back to earlier, see how I'm a great podcaster right here. But
Bookends.
yeah, the TMNT, the original '90s movie,
Yeah.
the same person who designed their costumes made the Bible Man, like
Really?
the villain suit. Yeah,
That's a type of tokusatsu, I'd say.
yeah,
You know? That
yeah.
has a similar vibe. I remember seeing that a little bit. So you grew up watching that show?
Yeah, I remember like checking it out and my mom showing it to me because like one of the first images was like Bible Man doing this, like the whole 89 pose, like he was like going like falling down. And I was like, is this Batman? Where's his ears? Like, why is he purple? And she's like, no, 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 it's Bible Man. I was like, what? And I checked it out and actually really liked it. At first, I was just like,
Oh
what is
man.
this?
That and Veggie Tales, those were a thing for a while.
Veggie Tales is still like I've watched some of the older it still holds up. Bible Man is just one of those things that I know the dude from it, so that helps a little bit, and I have like nostalgic attachment to it. But
Yeah, that's cool.
I don't think I'd ever actually watch it seriously. Be like, no, no, this is really good. Like even I talked to the dude, and he was just like, yeah, we were just having fun.
Yeah, I mean, that's cool. You interviewed him. I didn't know you did that, but that's kind of awesome.
Yeah, it was weird. I just saw him on LinkedIn. I'm like, is this the guy? And so like I just contacted him. He's like, yeah, sure, I'll interview with you.
That's awesome.
Yeah. He's actually really cool. I gotta get him back on the show at some point. But he's actually a really big Star Wars fan too.
Oh, that's cool. That's
Yeah.
cool.
And without rehashing a whole interview I did before, he did say that he has kids, and he said that one of them threw him like a lightsaber, and he's just like, hey, you know I'm really good at using one of these from back in the day. You better watch out, kind of thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, man, it's been awesome. It definitely one-on-one was really cool. I know it was a little, I wouldn't say nervous, but like kind of just like, I don't know, like just feeling it out. But this actually ended up being really good. So thanks, man.
Don't be nervous, man. I'm not famous yet.
Yeah, you're getting there, man. You got all those those AAA stars on your podcast.
Oh, here's the thing though. Like, does your mom know who Sam Ham is? You know what I mean?
No,
No offense
no.
to Sam Ham, but like you're not AAA until your mom till somebody your mom knows, I think. But
Yeah.
I mean it's a gateway for sure. But I mean, thank you for all that. But sometimes it feels like the people that listen to our podcast think that we're more famous than we are. Like we're we'd like to think we have more listeners than we used to. That's
Yeah.
true. But we still got ways to go, I think. So
Yeah.
so yeah. But thank you.
Yeah, man. Of course. And I'm loving seeing the growth both in that and your new podcast and everything. I'll include links. And yeah, man, thanks
Yeah.
for being on. I guess we'll just go ahead and wrap it up now. I'm Alex,
I'm Andrew.
and this has been What Mean. I almost said my other podcast that I do all the time.